Hello, Salesforce Ohana, Walters 954 here, and I've got a special guest, Kushal, here to tell us about something that he's built on the Salesforce platform around Salesforce roles and the role hierarchy. So this is near and dear to my heart because I have struggled with this problem a few times in different clients that I've worked with that just have like a ton of roles or very complex roles on Salesforce. So Kushal built something out that anybody can kind of try, bring into their org, and really start to like play around with some of the different ideas around like how you can extend the Salesforce platform with LWC and just, depending on how your imagination goes. So before we jump into the code and actually looking at it, Kushal, please intro yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So hi, Warren, and everyone who is watching us here. My name is Kushal. I am from India, and I am born and brought up in Calcutta. It's a popular city in India, and right now I'm working as a Salesforce developer. So I started my career as a Salesforce developer after doing my graduation. I joined a consultancy firm. I shout out to the company Cloud Captain Consultancy Private Limited, which is operating from Calcutta. I worked there for 5 years. It was a great learning experience for me. And then I was looking for a more challenging role, and I joined Salesforce as a senior technical consultant. And yep, so I'm working as a senior technical consultant for past 1 year. And yeah, and apart from that, I like technical stuffs. And being in Salesforce, I think I'm quite I feel a bit privileged that I have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's all about me. Over to you,
Awesome.
Warren.
So that's great to hear, and it's awesome to kind of see your progression on the more starting out technical and then moving into that more architecture piece of Salesforce. So go ahead and kind of help us set the stage with what you've built out here and why you've built it.
Yes. So as we all know that, the mother of, invention is basically a problem that we are stuck with and we cannot do anything about it. So I was in a similar situation in a project where, I had to deal with a system where there were, kind of more than thousands of roles configured, and I have to work with it every day. And it was a bit of a painful situation for me. So let me quickly share my screen so that I can give you example of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah. My screen is visible to you, Warren, right?
Yes, it is. Looks good.
Oh, all right. So right now I'm logged into my personal development environment, and what I'm showing you right now is the default role hierarchy that we have, right? Although I'm logged in the Lightning experience of Salesforce, but this UI is not Lightning in in its speed or in its UI or anything like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
more like the classic version of itself. And there are a couple of problems with this one. So if I start with the very beginning, there is a very limited features available over here. So obviously I can see the roles and everything, but there is a caveat, which is if the number of roles configured in the system is more than 1,000, this collapse all and expand all feature does not work. So if I click on to expand all, obviously it's already expanded. If I click on to collapse all, this certain feature of seeing every role at a single glance does not work if the number of roles are huge in the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's pain point number one. The second pain point that I had was if I want to see how many roles are having any users or active users, what I have to do is I have to open this role. And once I open this role, this page takes a few minutes to load, and then I can see the users over here. And from there, I have to do some mathematical calculation because it does not give you the bird's eye view that how many users are there, right? So that was the second pinpoint. And if I if I want to go back and see the roles, and I have to click back, and it's again a page load. And
It's
so
not
that's
very intuitive in terms of a UI, right? When we think of
correct.
Salesforce Lightning and being able to be easy to use, friendly to use, and getting
Exactly.
information very quickly. This is, as far as I understand, still the classic UI just inside of an LWC, or sorry, a Lightning container, right? But it's still the
Right.
old version of looking at the role hierarchy. So
Correct.
yeah, definitely some issues there.
Yeah. And so that was my first, the problem that I was facing. So that initially what I was thinking, it was specifically for the project that I was working on, and I was thinking, okay, what can I do? Because it was not a client requirement or something. It was just a problem that I was specifically facing. So initially what I thought, okay, let's build something which will give me an XML or a JSON, of the role hierarchy that this org is particularly having. So I wrote a class which will do that for me. And once I did that, I thought, wait a minute. So if I want to use it, I have to go to the developer console, I have to run that class, and then I will get the XML or the JSON, which was obviously was helping me out. But I thought, okay, it's not going to help out my peer or my colleague if he or she is not a developer, or if he or she is not very comfortable with XML and JSON. So then I thought, okay, fine. Let's try to add some additional features to it. And then I thought, okay, we have features in LWC, the whole framework, which we can use to kind of mock this whole role hierarchy page in a much more UI friendly way. And that was the inception point, and I started working on it. And it took me around, couple of weekends to work on, and then I created this. So basically, what I did was I created an app, which I gave it a name called Enhanced Roles. I'm not sure whether it's a good name or not, but anyway,
I'll take it. It's good.
yeah. So first of all, once you install the app, I will get to the page where you can install it from. But let's assume that we have already installed. And so first of all, you have to go to the Enhanced Role app. And once you land upon that page, you'll obviously see this page. And by default, it is going to show you the root level role and the role API name and the number of active users that this particular role is having. And what you can do is you can simply click onto a button, which is this expand all. This will give you the bird's eye view of every role that is being configured in the org, regardless how many roles you are having. It can be more than 1,000, it can be more than 5,000, 10,000. It doesn't matter. It will work as as butter. And overall, what you are going to see is obviously the role API name and the number of active users that you're going to have.
Very
and
cool.
If you want to see a particular role in much more detail, what you can do is simply click onto a role link. It will automatically open in a new tab, and you're going to get to the same page that the classic version of the role gets you at. So the existing feature is also going to be useful for you if you want to see which users that particular role is having, and you can go there and do whatever you want. The other two features that I also introduced was having the option to download this whole role hierarchy via JSON or XML. And while building that feature, I also thought about the security. Like, let's say I'm not around my laptop, somebody, with not a good intention comes and just downloads and, gets on to their pen drive or something. That is not ideal. So what I did was, instead of having a download feature, I created a feature where you can export this to your email. And by your email is basically whoever is logged in. So if you are having a logged in user, and the user email that is configured in your user is a secured one, and you can just not go and change it without a verification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you how the mail will look like. So let's say I choose JSON first and click on to export to email. It says that file sent to user email successfully. And let me also do the same thing for the XML.
Cool. Yeah.
And it also says same. Let me quickly open my email and open
while you're pulling that up, I think it's really cool that one, you've built this out, and it's really about, you had that problem. There's that problem, that the inception of a problem, and you see it and you know that it's there. And there are a lot of things like this in Salesforce, right? And then of course, Salesforce is doing the releases and making updates to the system, but something like this may not be priority, right? Like people can get by with the original role hierarchy builder that exists. But, as a developer, when you see an issue like this, sometimes it's just kind of like, nags at you, and you've got to, take those weekends or take that time to really build out one of those things. So in terms of like just gaining experience or having something fun to do, this is a really good option for anybody that's looking for like projects. Whenever you see an issue and you think that you can solve it, even if you can't actually solve it, if you think that you can solve it, building these things out is a great way to build your development experience and just have something good to either put in your resume or share out to the community. It's really great stuff.
Right, right. So back to the demo. So I have initiated the mail delivery, and as you can see on the screen, I have got the mail from the system. So the email is not very glamorous, but
I think
it
that's
does
okay.
its
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
It does its job. So basically, it will have a button from where you can download. You click onto it, and this has downloaded. And let me quickly open this one. So yeah, so this is the XML. And what I can do is I can simply copy this out and open any XML viewer.
Looks like we're missing probably the XML tags at the beginning of it, but I think overall, yeah, you would be able to see the tree structure in there.
Yeah. I think there has to be something wrong while I'm copying it, but essentially this is an XML, and if I just open the JSON for you.
Yeah, the JSON should be pretty good.
So the JSON email also looks pretty similar.
Yeah, and I find it so funny that you took it upon yourself to build this, because I did something very similar, right? When we talk about the Chrome extension that I built for adding tabs into the setup, right? So it's just sometimes you have to take a weekend. You maybe you learn something new. I never built a Chrome extension before this, and you just go out and kind of set your mind to it, and you learn something new while you're building these things out. So I think it's really great that there are a ton of opportunities to like build these things, and there's I'd say there are issues in Salesforce so that other people can like try these things out, but that's how software gets built in general.
Yeah. So this is the a JSON. And this JSON is basically going to obviously show you the number of users that a certain role is having, and also the role URL. So you can go directly, if you follow this link, you can go directly to that particular role. You also get the role ID. And after that, you are going to get the child roles of this is having, right? So essentially, every child role is essentially another role node in the JSON. And you can see the number of users over there. You can see the information that you need. And to be very honest, I have not thought of some sort of an integration that you can build, which will help you if you have a JSON and XML ready for your roles configured. So that is it's up to, and first of all, this whole tool is an open source tool. So everyone who is watching it right now, they can fork it, they can make contribution to it, and make it your own. And yeah, I think that's the whole feature that you're having right now. And if I go back, I also added few things which are not very useful, to be very honest, but again, you can actually so once you land up on this page, if you are facing any certain issues, you can certainly raise a bug directly from here, and you can create issues from there. And then you can, if you want, you can buy me a coffee. I'm not sure if everyone will do that, but again, you can also see the source code directly from here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And make sure to support your devs out there, everybody. We are doing this on weekend times, but if you can support, we do appreciate that. I know I do. Whenever I get one of those random buy me coffees, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. But yes, so this is the GitHub repo. Anybody can go on this. They can look at all of the source code. So if you're trying to figure out is it like stealing all of your data or anything like that? You can review all of the code that goes into it. But the more important piece, I think, is that since this is open source, anybody can add enhancements on top of it and help, make the code better, expand on the features and all of those types of things.
Right. And I would also like to highlight, if you want to use it, if you want to try it in your own org, what you can do is you can just go to the repo, and from here you are going to see the options to install it. If you're already working in a sandbox, you can install it from here. And if you are working in your development org, or I won't recommend using it in your production directly. But if you want to do it, I mean, it's not going to harm anything as such. So you can click on to install in production. It will just, help you to do that. So you don't have to do any hard work. To be very honest, you just have to just click once, and it will redirect you to your org. You just have to log in, and that is going to just, if it is simply go to my particular org, it will just ask me to install it. So you don't have to do any sort of heavy lifting, the because it's basically an unmanaged package, so you are not going to have any difficulty to install it. So that's all about the tool, Warren.
Yeah, awesome. It's really great to hear. I've got, I guess, one or two more questions for you. Just at least if you don't mind showing some of the code, what was like maybe the most impactful piece of code that either exists in there that you would like to go over and share with everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything started with this, first of all, the initial class was a single class, and the only purpose that particular class was having to create a JSON out of the role structure that the certain org is having, and this was the original class for it. And so essentially, what it does is basically after I created it, I kind of standardized the code with creating interfaces and all, so that if anyone wants to inherit this thing and create something on their own, it will be very easier for them to do it. So essentially, if you look at the classes that I'm having, so this user role export helper class is basically the class that will help you to create the JSON or create the XML export, right? So if you go there, if you just have to create uh, a, a file toolkit instance, and you have to tell the file toolkit instance which type of export that you want to have. It's a JSON or is it an XML, and you just have to provide that type, and that's it. And you don't have to do anything else. So once you get the instance, you can just call certain functions of it, and it will give you the outcome, right? So this is kind of the heart of everything that I'm doing. And if I look over the other classes, the other instances of the implementation, I have the XML toolkit class, which basically creates the DOM XML nodes for the XML. So essentially, if it is a JSON, it's quite easier for me to create a JSON file because I can just create wrapper classes and just convert it into a JSON. But for XMLs, it's not that straightforward. I have to create the nodes and everything. So this XML toolkit class does that for me, and that's being there. Then I have the JSON toolkit class. Again, as I've told you, I just created some POJOs, and I'm just converting that into a JSON, serializing it, and this is giving me the JSON string, which I'm allowing the user to download or send it to their email. And then there is an email toolkit class, which is the only purpose of it is having is getting an attachment and sending it to somebody. So I'm also using a email template, and which you already showed on the screen. And yeah, I'm just kind of creating the email content, pasting the the download ID, download URL of the file in runtime. And yeah, that's the whole point and purpose of having this toolkit. I purposefully have not kept all of the logics into a single place, keeping in mind that since it is an open source project, if anyone is having any certain issues in a certain part, they don't have to go through the entire code base and try to understand everything. They can just pinpoint to the certain class, and they can they can work on it, they can enhance it as per their will. So yeah, so that's the Apex side of the things. And on the LW side of the things, it's kind of pretty blind. I think it's this certain component that I have created. I'm using the lighting layout, to kind of visualize the whole thing. And I'm using the lightning tree grid. So lightning tree grid is basically, I think it's built out for situations like this, because you have that sort of that hierarchical data sets. And I think lightning tree grid is perfectly built for that. So I use that component to just create that UI, which is very similar to what the role looks like into the classic version. But it's more beautiful
Right.
in the grid. Yeah.
You would think that, for the classic one, they would just update it with the lightning grid and, everybody would be a little bit happier, but,
Yeah.
I was talking about priorities earlier and it may not be high on their priority list. So I think this
Yeah. I think
looks super awesome. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I think let's be the developer's advocate, right? So even let's assume that they are already working on it. I
Mm-hmm.
think they have to work with the lightning tree grid. That's that is kind of a component where you don't have to do a lot of customization to support this particular feature. That's my belief, because it's kind of, you have this pre-built templates you can just apply, and you just have this whole view of roles which you want to have in this particular situation. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome to hear. And I guess the final question is, do you have any like features that you've thought about but haven't built out? Like what is next for this, or is this kind of done for now and you're potentially going to move on to
I
the next thing?
Yes, I have. I kind of had certain thoughts about it, but I didn't had a chance to work on it. So first of all, what I wanted is, let's say, I am on this page. I am seeing, okay, there are a certain number of active users on this particular role, and I want to see those users, right? But I don't want to change tabs, or I don't want to, go to a different page or something. So what I can do, I want to do is, I can, if I just click onto this one or zero or whatever, and I think a dialog should pop up and show me, a certain table of these users are there. So that is something is on my pipeline. I have not started working on it. So if anyone who is watching it, if you think that you want to contribute on that, you're very welcome. You can just get ahead with it. I won't stop you.
Awesome. Yeah, really cool stuff. And I mean, with projects like this, it's an ever ending list of just like ideas that pop in and things that you can do and enhancements. So this is all really cool. And I appreciate your time with all of this. You putting in the work to really create this enhanced roles. It's not like you're getting paid anything extra or to do this, but you saw an issue and you kind of went out of your way to get it figured out. So I really appreciate. I know the struggles and the drive behind creating these types of things. So I appreciate your time, and I know many other people will as well. So yeah, just kind of wrapping things up here. Do you have any like final things you want to tell people? Anything you want to shout out? This is your time to shine.
Yeah, so I started, I think I already mentioned it, but I want to make a shout out to my past company, Cloud Kaptan. And I think, I learned a lot while working over there. So the developer that I am today, I think I have a lot to contribute to them. So folks at Cloud Kaptan, uh, I'm very grateful, for you. And I'm also grateful to you, Warren, for giving me this opportunity to to showcase this. I never thought about. I mean, while I was working on it, I never thought that this is going to work out in this way. And it's very pleasant of you to to arrange this thing, and to allow me to give you a demo. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about it.
Well, of course, Kushal, you're the one that put in all the hard work. I'm just, giving you a platform to talk about all the cool stuff you've built. But that's it, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Kushal, thank you so much for your time and all the time that you've put into this component and all the code that you've built about this. So the enhanced roles. Yeah, that's really it. Everybody, you can check in the description for all of Kushal's information. There will be the GitHub repo, his LinkedIn, and any other places that he wants you to know about. And thanks so much for watching. I'm Walters954. He's Kushal, and we believe in you.